Overwatch 2. Love it or hate it, everyone seems to have an opinion. But how many of those opinions are actually true? Today, we're busting the 5 biggest misconceptions about Overwatch 2, and you might be surprised by what you learn. If you have a question or concern not covered in this video, feel free to leave a comment and I'll answer it. With that said, let's get the obvious out of the way. Despite what you'll probably hear from your average Twitter user, no, Overwatch is not dead. I can't deny the rough launch of Overwatch 2, nobody can. The removal of core features like On Fire and loot boxes, map pools that removed variety, questionable balance decisions, and the over-monetization of the game were all bad moves to say the least. That being said, this year will mark the 3-year anniversary of Overwatch 2's launch. 3 whole years to fix mistakes, listen to community feedback, and make a game that's worth playing. Overwatch is a free-to-play game, available on every major console and on PC, and it has crossplay. This might just sound like I'm describing basic features, but these features have a massive impact on the game and its popularity. The simple fact that Overwatch is so widely available means that no matter what, there will always be a dedicated audience for it. Even if you grow tired of the game and take a break, there will always be a brand new Bronze 5 Widow ready to go 0-15. By the very nature of it being a free game available on everything and being an easily recognizable IP owned by one of the biggest companies in gaming, Overwatch is not in any danger of dying anytime soon. Especially not with the recent boom in player count with Season 15's changes and the relaunch of the game in China. When I checked the Steam charts just now, it had a 24-hour peak of 30,000 plus players. And while Steam is the only platform we have numbers for, console and Battle.net most likely have even more players. That sounds pretty healthy to me. Now player counts are all well and good, but what really matters to the players is the passion put into the game, which is why our next misconception is the devs don't care about the game. We've all heard this time and time again. The devs blow, Blizzard is soulless, things will never get better. As easy as it is to be doomer about Overwatch after having to deal with a Sombra or a Kiriko for the millionth time, it's only fair to take a step back. Believe it or not, nobody sets out to make a bad product on purpose. Crazy, I know. The people working on the game are people who are passionate about it. They want to see it grow and be a fun experience for millions of players to enjoy. It's unfair to expect perfection out of the people working on the game. My whole goal with this channel is to be a positive voice in the Overwatch community. But that doesn't mean I can't criticize the devs for making bad decisions. I just made a video not too long ago about doing so. But it's still important to give them a fair chance and to try to understand where they're coming from. Overwatch has made its share of bad decisions, sure. But it's also had plenty of good ones, and let's be real, a lot of the worst calls came from management, not the devs on the ground. It's easy to notice mistakes and point them out, but hardly anyone points out the good that the devs do. One excellent example is the big changes brought about in Season 15. Specifically, the loot boxes. We all miss them, getting that kick of watching your box slowly open only to be met with the disappointing reality of 3 commons and a rare. It's what I live for. Aaron Keller, the game director of Overwatch, said they added loot boxes back because the team didn't feel like there was enough reward for playing. This line of thinking is likely why we also saw changes like all the heroes going back to being free and unlocked for everyone, mythic skins being purchasable after the season they were released, and coins in the battle pass. Yes, the over-monetization of Overwatch sucks. Seeing the official Overwatch Twitter advertise Kiriko's grippers for $40 is disheartening to say the least, but the devs working on the game aren't money-hungry demons. Also, I think it's important that we direct our anger, dissatisfaction, and blame at the right people. Do we really think Aaron Keller is the one saying a skin should cost X amount? No, it's some Blizzard Activision suit that draws that line. The devs want the players to have fun and be rewarded. They try their best to give us what they can without Daddy Blizzard stepping in and saying no. But that's just the reward side of things. From a gameplay perspective, the devs are always hard at work. A new hero with a unique design and kit every other season, each fitting that iconic Overwatch style with standout visuals and voices. There's even entirely new game modes and game-changing features being added all the time to keep the game fresh. Stadium will be coming out in Season 16, offering a MOBA-esque style of gameplay with countless upgrades that make each match feel unique. Something like that isn't easy to make. It's not something a skeleton crew can patch together to pretend like they care. Even within the core gameplay of Overwatch, they're still taking steps to keep things fresh and fun, like perks, which leads me to my next topic. But real quick, I have some exciting news. We're officially launching a Patreon and a Discord server. If you're enjoying this content and want to help the channel grow, the Patreon is the perfect way to do that. You'll get your questions answered in exclusive Q&A sessions, a special role in the Discord, and you'll see behind-the-scenes content like time lapses of my thumbnail creation process. If you want to connect with me and the rest of the community directly, jump into our Discord. Links to both are in the description below, and I'd love to see you there. From streamers to low elo scrubs to the random guy rolling his face across the keyboard on ball, you'll hear it all the time. In fact, we hear it every season, every balance patch, every new hero, every new map, and every major change. Something gets buffed or something gets nerfed, the maps are too small or too open, there's too many overpowered abilities, this character is broken, this character is trashed here, the devs don't know what they're doing, the game is unbalanced. Look, I get it. The game has its issues. Every game does. No matter what, there will always be a meta. That's the nature of balancing, the nature of game development. Still, I don't think it's quite fair to treat Overwatch as if it's an unplayable, broken mess. In fact, I'd dare to say that Overwatch is in one of the most balanced states it's ever been in. Yes, even with perks. Don't get me wrong, there are still plenty of balancing issues in the game. There always will be, but when looking back at the history of Overwatch or even other games out there right now, it's impressive just how well everything in Overwatch works. The recent Overwatch Classic events have given us the perfect way to explore the unfair history of the game. A gentle reminder that maybe things aren't so bad right now. It was only a few years ago that Doom could appear out of nowhere and instantly kill your supports before you had a chance to react. 6-man mass reses, scatter arrows, an insane amount of CC, the demon that was Brig on launch, double shield meta. Overwatch has had some really rough patches when it comes to balancing, and while the game isn't perfect now, it's certainly nowhere near as bad as it was in the past. A greater attention to balance, avoiding things that are unfun and unfair, such as one-shots or CC, and large overhauls of game systems like the passive health regen, role passives, or the hitbox changes of Season 9 have all done their part in making modern Overwatch a much more balanced and fair game. Maybe we've lost some of that fun, goofy factor that Overwatch used to have, but we've traded that for a more balanced, competitive, and reliable experience. Whichever you prefer is just that, personal preference. Neither side of that argument is wrong, but I prefer the more competitive and reliable experience we have now. It's part of the reason why I won't be jumping ship to Marvel Rivals. And since it was mentioned and you can't talk about balance without covering it, let's address the elephant in the room. 5v5 was certainly a controversial choice, but it looks like the debate is kind of over. I don't see anyone yelling about how we need to go back to 6v6 anymore. While I'm sure there are still some people in a dusty corner fighting one another to the death over which format is better, I think for the most part, we've all moved on. We all got a taste, and it looks like the community as a whole didn't really like 6v6. I think Aaron said in a blog post that 6v6 made up a pretty small 10% of the player base. Overwatch Classic and the 6v6 test really seem to have shown that a lot of the changes the devs have made, including 5v5, were probably for the better. We have dedicated 6v6 queues now too, so in the end, I think everyone won. Still, maybe that's not enough for you. Maybe perks and stadium and new heroes are just making you think of what could have been. Let's address the biggest misconception about Overwatch. The crushing weight that it looks like Overwatch may never be able to get out from under. The promise of a finished campaign with skill trees, cinematics, a gripping story, the PvE. It all sounded amazing. It would have saved Overwatch from the drought it was in. Or would it have? It might sound blasphemous to say, but I don't believe PvE was the answer to all of Overwatch's problems. In fact, I think it was a good thing that the PvE was cancelled. Focusing on PvE over maintaining the core game of Overwatch 1 might have actually led to bigger issues. While the promised PvE missions really did seem like something I and many others would have loved, especially from a lore perspective, PvE content isn't the main appeal of Overwatch. The world and characters of Overwatch are fantastic and a big part of why people enjoy the franchise as much as they do. But Overwatch at its core is a team-based competitive hero shooter. Putting the development of the PvP on hold to spend years and countless dollars on a PvE mode that wasn't even guaranteed to sell, yeah, that probably wasn't the best move. I would have loved to have seen PvE, but it should have never come at the expense of the game's health and update schedule. Game development is a nightmare, but focusing so much on PvE and ignoring the main game is why Overwatch stopped getting new updates and heroes. It almost killed the game. It's why the double shield meta lasted for so long, and it's why in 2020 Overwatch was as good as dead and past its prime. PvE could have been a fantastic addition to the game, but that's exactly what it should have been. An addition, not something that takes up all the resources and development time that should go into the base game. As unfortunate as things turned out, it might just be for the best that we've moved on from it and are able to get the constant updates and new content we get now. After all, if you never move on, then you'll never be able to appreciate Overwatch for what it is. You'll only ever be sad imagining your own perfect vision of what it could be, failing to see the hard work and dedication the team has put in since. You'll fail to see the amazing experience Overwatch is now. I still see so many people talking about the PvE. Those people don't have to love Overwatch or anything, but a little bit of life advice from me to you. Don't live in the past or you'll wind up missing the present. And now this video is in the past. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to join the Discord and Patreon through the links in the description. And if you want to learn a little bit of useless information about every hero in the game, check out this video here. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you in-game.